Howdy, everybody. It's your boy Juice. So, yeah, a lot of the staff at the nursing facilities are contracting the virus. A lot of the residents are contracting the virus. It seems like um, a week ago was my daughter's birthday, so we had like a little party at the pool, and you know, one of the people that attended was saying that their mother was sick with the virus. And when they had told me that, I was like, wow, it seems like a couple of months I hadn't heard anything about the virus. It was almost like it was a dead issue. Like it was a done deal. It was gone, or so it seemed. In the back of my mind, I always knew that it was either going to come back or, whatever. Um, but, the talk about it had just lessened so much. The masks were gone, everything, that took place in the past couple of months. It's almost seemed like, I think we all know that it wasn't over, but it just wasn't as. There's so many lies. There's so much skepticism. We've been told so many different things. It was like, to hear it again was like I don't know. I don't know what to think. And the only reason why I say that is because, for one, I never really saw what they were explaining on the TV. Um, it's not that I don't think it's real. I think it may be, but I just feel there's nefarious agendas. I don't really know. Everything is a theory as far as that goes. The way I feel about it is maybe a strain was out there in the beginning, but as far as like all the deaths and all the you know I just never saw it. I never saw it. And then when it came around here in this town, this small town that, I live in, it just never took off like the TV made it. The hospital wasn't overran. There weren't as many deaths. You know, when this first started, I was watching this before it even came over here. I was watching it when it was in China and other countries, and the way they had portrayed this was that it was so deadly and contagious that people were just. You remember when um they were showing like people, like, I remember there was a couple of videos. Okay, the first one I remember was it was like a Chinese guy, and he was like at work, right? And then he was like sitting in a chair, and all of a sudden he just like leaned back and he just like dropped out of the chair, right? It was like he just fainted, right? It was like, oh my god, right? Um, it was like he was either possessed or something terribly wrong was happening, like maybe a heart attack or like I don't really know. Um, it didn't look good, it looked very very concerning. I would say that. Then there was another video that I want to say came out of like Iran or something like that, and it was some boy like going to school or coming home from school or something, and he's like leaning on the car and he's like passing out, right? Like he's just like ready to drop, right? He's like leaning on the car to like help like keep him, you know, standing. So I never, and then they were saying the lungs and just all this stuff, right? And then it like changed. Everything's changed, so I don't know what to think or what to believe. I know for the most part it was created in a lab. And the reason why I feel there's no way to pinpoint what the symptoms are, what it does, what it's going to do, yada yada. It's the same as the venom that they're giving you. Okay, and what I mean by that is, if you were to create a sickness, um, genetically modified and whatnot, then you've added a little bit of everything. Okay, you've got the flu, you've got Ebola, you've got pox, you've got You name it. Everybody's different. Everybody's different. Everybody's immunity is different. Everybody's body's different. So you're gonna have. Let's take these groups, right? Let's take the clots, for instance. Not everybody is experiencing clots. Okay. So then the clot people are going to be in that group. So, because we're bouncing around here because I'm theoretically speaking here, from my observations. Um, and then you have, like, let's say heart attack people. We'll put them in another category, right? So this is just an example. I'm just throwing out examples, you know, uh, because everything is varied, everything is different, and everybody's body is different. You could get the stomach bug and then I never get it. I mean, you can get the stomach bug and then you give it to the whole house, you know. Um, but I'm just not seeing, like, let's take this for instance. From what I'm observing, there's 5 people in a house. Okay, I've made this observation. There's 5 people in a house. Okay, dad gets it, but he has no symptoms. Asymptomatic. He's just a host. Okay, but then mom gets it. She feels horrible, terribly ill. And let's say daughter gets it, right? And she just has like concerning symptoms, but not enough to like be at the hospital or like I'm dying or whatever, right? So this is 3 people who have contracted the virus, but 2 did not get it. So it doesn't make sense to me. Besides maybe natural selection or maybe just immunity response. But then a year passes and then mom gets it again. Dad doesn't have it. And then another daughter has contracted it that didn't have it previously. Okay. So I'm not seeing the contagious factor here. But with the reemergence of it, I am seeing the contraction factor and the contagious ability, because now it's spreading like wildfire. And if we're going to go by facts here, the issue is if they're to implement the same rules that they implemented before, they're not going to work. They didn't work the first time, and they're definitely not going to work this time. So you would think that you should go about things differently because trial and error, right? I always say trial and error because I trial and error in my life every day. What works and what doesn't, right? And if you're gonna go with something that just absolutely didn't work and made no sense, why would you implicate the same rules again? Let's take masks, for instance. You're gonna say on, off, on, off, on, off, right? Like it just doesn't add up. And for a long time, I mean, this is gonna take time of observing to figure things out because it's all brand new. All the lies are brand new. All the hustles and burns are brand new. So, we've never experienced anything like this, or even like thought of these ideas, So when it comes to like, let's say the bad guys, they're 10 steps ahead of us. So it's up to us to be vigilant and figure out the devil's a tricky guy, okay? And first of all, where you must stand and be vigilant is to question everything. Never take the first answer, okay, that anybody gives you. I'm going to give you an example of what I mean by that. And this goes across the board in any category, in any genre of subject. And I'm going to throw out a metaphor here and an example. The roofer, I need the roof fixed. Okay, this is in any business, anywhere, anything. My roof needs to be fixed, so I call the roofer. He wants to throw a bid, but I feel it's too expensive. So again, don't go with the first answer because now I want a second opinion. So I'm going to call another builder, and he wants to charge less. So does this make sense? I don't know. Just venting here. Just venting.